don't forget about Indiantown High School, the new high school out there. How fantastic is that?
Indiantown High School, the enrollment is up. They got a great program out there. Indiantown Marine Center, Joe Walsh donated, I believe, 10 acres to the school, and they're looking to bring in a marine school out there.
Which the
So,
entire
so
county will love, by the way. We need
we're in
that.
Florida. What is it? Aviation,
Yeah.
marine,
Yep,
those two industries
that's right.
very conducive to Florida. I mean, we got
Very
great
much.
weather all the time,
That's
with the
right.
exception of a few months and a possible hurricane or two.
Right, right. Comes with
But
the territory.
exactly. That's great. There's we got we've assembled the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board because with these houses going to come families and children, and we need to have a viable, strong sports program.
Pickleball. Gotta have
Yeah,
pickleball.
yeah, yeah. All the above. I
Yes.
mean, we have a golf course. We can, I'd like to see somebody do a golf academy and use Indian Wood Golf Course as their,
Yes.
location. I mean, until things change and, the golf communities come in and, I'm looking down the road at, having not only the affordable houses, but the higher end homes,
Well,
the two
it's
million plus dollar homes,
diversification, right? I
You're
mean,
going to be diversified.
you truly do, because it all supports each other, and that's the healthiest economy is a diversified economy, as well as your population and demographics. Indiantown's definitely heading that way, and it's just so exciting to go out there. And I've always watched this a little bit from afar, but always part of it and so supportive. And it's not just Indiantown, but Martin County in the state of Florida. Everybody's pulling for Indiantown to be a real success as the newest village in the state of Florida. And it's heading that way.
Well, sometimes you got to look outside the county too to bring people in.
Yes,
You have to go far and to find the people, companies that you want.
that's right.
And I can tell you that there's things down the road that will not only be great for Indiantown and Martin County, but it'll be great for the Treasure Coast too.
That's right. Regional
And
impact.
whole. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I've always had, I've worked out here for my whole career in law enforcement. We're talking almost 30 years,
Mm.
you know.
Right.
And I've also watched people drive through Indiantown, watch people leave Indiantown, not only to live, but to go shop, to go do things because there was nothing here.
Right.
Uh, my vision of Indiantown is I want people to come here, people to come from outside, people that live here, not to have to leave
Right.
to go get a service or shopping, whatever.
That's right.
But I want people to come here. I want them to come here and leave their dollars here. I mean, you look at the rodeo and you look at the financial impact, a positive financial impact that it brings to Indiantown for those 2 days,
That's right.
right?
It's huge. It's huge.
Then you look at our fireworks, and we got mixed reviews on our fireworks. Some people don't want to spend the money. I personally think it's worth it because it brings people from outside of Indiantown to Indiantown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they get to see Indiantown. They get to see what we have. And we have a beautiful park there in Time of Powers Park.
It is. It
You
is
know,
gorgeous.
and we're building a town, and every time they come back, they're going to see something different,
Right.
and they're going to pay attention,
That's right.
and they're going to spend their money here, and that's a positive financial impact on the community.
That's right. That's what you want. You want those outside dollars to support it so your residents don't have to. And they get the
Exactly.
benefit. That's what
Yeah.
it's about. So
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on here. We're lucky that we have the staff we do, from Taryn Krista right down to the guy that's out there working on the water meters. They're impeccable. That's great. I mean, we got a really good team.
you do.
Yeah, we do.
You,
So
you do.
so
And
having that team in place and having the growth that we're having, we got a lot of industrial stuff in the pipelines that's going to bring jobs. And hopefully we'll be sitting here 4 years from now to say, remember just
I
that?
know.
Yeah.
I hope so too. I hope so too. So,
Yeah.
Mayor DiPaolo, I appreciate you just checking in with us and giving us updates and all the great things happening in Indiantown. And a shout out, a special shout out actually to Taryn Krista. I think she's been so instrumental in helping re-guide because it started out bumpy, but boy, how fortunate was Indiantown to have somebody of her caliber and experience to come in.
Oh,
And
we're so lucky to have her. And if I
yes,
didn't have her, I'd probably be in trouble because she probably keeps me in check more than anybody else.
Taryn's good at that. She keeps everybody in check. So
Yeah,
it's a good
so
thing.
we got a lot of things going on. You know, we bought our village hall, so we own that now. Last meeting we voted to enter into a contract after almost 3 years of talking and talking and talking and talking. You know, when I first got there, you remember Howard Brown.
Yes.
Yeah,
Previous
and
village
Pat
manager.
Pat
I do
Pat from the
remember.
water company is my witness to this because I walked Howard out the back door and I told him, look around. And what? I need you to go talk to the powers about buying this building, and I need you to convince Omar to abandon his project back here and sell us that land. Well, he didn't do it, but I did.
Oh wow.
For for for, for it took me almost 3 years.
3 years, but
Actually, yeah. I mean, I got a year left from day one. That was what? Yeah, it was almost 3 years ago.
persistence pays off.
So we voted last Thursday night to go ahead and enter into a contract with and it's not for sale. The property is not for sale. It's not like I'm, here this property's coming up for sale. No, no. If we don't buy it, he's going to build this project.
Took work. Took work on your
So
behalf.
so I'm pleased. So to me, that's a big step right there.
Yes.
Because now we're making a statement, hey, listen, we're here to stay, and we're building a new building.
And you're gonna need that. You do need more room for staff. I remember the previous administration, there was talk of buying a very expensive piece of property and putting up a Taj Mahal. I think this is going to be something that fits the character of Indiantown, what you're looking at doing where you are right now. All great things happening. And it's just very exciting. And this conversation also shows there's so much work to be done in so many different areas, right? You got the industrial, you've got commercial, you've got residential. How about the municipality itself and government? So water plant. And y'all
So
have a lot on your plate.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts going on right now. There's just so much happening. But this is a critical time too, because as you know, and any business owner knows, and I look at this government as a business.
Yes, it is.
I want it run efficiently, and I want it run. Everything's to be right
Mm-hmm.
because, as you know, in private business, when you're growing a business, that is the most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's right.
like when that airplane rotates, you're committed.
That's right.
You got to have every system in place. Everything's got to, and we're doing that.
Yes.
So, and sometimes it's hard for people to understand because, I mean, for instance, our water system, we put new water meters in, and some of the water meters weren't working properly. They weren't reading. Some weren't reading at all. So people weren't paying their water bill. I mean, they're
Right.
paying their water bill, but it's like the minimum, $30.
Right.
You know,
Right.
when they're using hundreds of gallons of water.
Right.
So now everything's right. But and then people wonder, wow, look at the spike in water on this day. Well, we just had an example. The woman's water system was dumping 300 gallons of water
Ooh.
to
Oh my
recycle.
Lord. Oh my Lord.
So our water system wasn't working properly.
Right.
So it was using all this water, and it wouldn't do it for 2-3 days, and then it would spike. And I got involved in that and made sure that it was resolved, and they found it. Our Pat found what the problem was. So it was resolved. But, people post stuff on the internet and
Yes.
they don't call us and they don't tell us.
Right.
Doesn't get to the right person to get the problem
Hmm.
resolved. So I urge anybody that's listening or watching that if you're having a problem with water, with whatever it is, I mean, if you have a problem with electricity, you don't put it on your internet on social media.
Right.
You call FPNL, they'll come and put your power back
That's
on.
right. That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
I know.
So, so call us, call the office. That's what we want. We want it makes our job easier.
Yes. And we could go into a whole nother topic about how social media is misused today for information, but yes, call the village if you have a village issue, water, utilities, what have you. It's much more effective, and the problem will get solved better than a social media complaint.
Yeah.
But Mayor DiPaolo, this has been fantastic, and I've learned a few things about you. I had no idea you had a helicopter company and was a pilot. And you said even a hairdressing shop, barber shop.
Yeah, I'm not a hairdresser. I don't know how to cut hair. I have a hard time even trimming my own beard. But no, no, yeah, I did own my ex-wife now, and I owned a salon in Palm City for 25 years.
Yep, I
Yeah,
had no idea. So
yeah.
definitely wear a lot of hats. And now
Yeah,
you're
and when you grow, that's the most crucial time. That's when things go wrong. That's when things happen.
true.
That's when it costs money when you're growing, when you're starting up and you're growing, and the village is growing and we can't afford to lose tax dollars to,
Right.
we got to work on, and we are, and we eventually will be weaned off of some of. I don't think we'll ever be weaned off 100% of FPL, but we'll be weaned. If I could get, or if we can get to where we can take 50% of that
Right. The
tax check
slush
from
fund.
FPL and put it in
That's
a high
right.
yielding account somewhere
That's right.
that makes the village money, then we can hopefully, keep the millage rate or even drop it,
That's
you
right.
know.
Well, you
So
never want to be vulnerable when you're dependent on one source for income. You just
exactly.
don't know what can happen. So,
Yeah.
I know you all have recognized that from day one, and that's what you're working so hard to diversify the economy in Indiantown, and folks, it's needed. It's going to give
Right.
everybody peace of mind, and like you said, wouldn't it be fun to have a slush fund? So that's what it's about. But
That's what it's all about. I
so
just want to see the quality of life improve for the people that are here,
yes, yes,
and if we can do that, then the people that are coming will see that and they'll want to come here, you know.
well, it's exciting because these businesses will bring in other businesses for people that are there. There's going to be a need for more restaurants. There's going to be a need for more shopping, and that's what folks in Indiantown can expand their businesses or start a new one. That's what it's about is supporting the community, and
Yeah. Well, it
it,
takes businesses to support businesses.
it does.
So, with every industrial project that comes to us, it's not just that industrial project. It's what's the spin-off of that
Mhm.
industrial project
That's
going
right.
to be,
That's right.
and you start multiplying things and it adds up to dollars.
It does.
Adds up to dollars for our tax base. It adds up to jobs for our citizens. And, it'll eventually, it will. So I think right now our quality of life has been improved over the last 4 or 5 years out here
Absolutely.
in Indiantown. I've worked out here for 33 years with the sheriff's office and now with the village. But I've only lived out here for like 5 years,
Hmm.
you know.
Yep.
And I'm glad I'm here because I used to live in Port St. Lucie, and I drive through there now, and it just boggles my mind how they're they were overbuilding it.
Gross. Hmm.
I go back up north. I go back home, and there's it was a town, the town of Watertown, Massachusetts, and now it's a city.
Yeah.
And you can't drive down the street. Take you a half hour to go half a mile. It's like, what are they doing? They
Right.
ruined it. This
Right.
is what you want to do. This is you want to spend your life sitting in traffic all day. I don't want to see that for Indiantown, and as long as I'm here, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And but you see it all around, and for me, I want to diversify our tax base where we could say, okay, we're at a comfortable place now, and this is where we're going to stay. And whoever comes in behind me is going to have to either go with that philosophy or go with their own philosophy. But as long as I'm here, I know where I want to stop, you know. But
It's smart growth. It's a controlled smart growth.
no, I mean you have to plan it, you know.
Absolutely. And that's what you're doing. I've got a little.
I would just urge everybody that's listening to come drive through Indiantown. Come to Indiantown. See what's going on. Drive through some of these developments that are going in. See what Indiantown has to offer. It's a beautiful little town. Um, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it little town.
Right.
And but we need to do what we need to do to get off that, the chance of, I mean, like I said in the beginning, all it takes is one hurricane. And then what do you do? When
Yes.
you're out $300,000, how do you make that up?
Yep. It's a
You
frightening
know,
proposition. It is.
how do you make it up
Yeah.
when you get a small budget to begin with? You know, we're not Port St. Lucie, we're not Stewart.
No, and
You
when
know,
you incorporated, you were
where do you cut?
a hybrid, right? You were a hybrid light government. You intended to be that way, meaning you're contracting your services out to Martin County for the fire department, for sheriff services. You're a hybrid light, but you still you have your
Listen, let's not kid ourselves. Everything has an expiration date. We have an expiration date. You don't know what that is, but it's coming.
right.
Okay, and you don't know. Uh, you know, when I bought my first gas station, and this is a perfect example, it was an Arco station, Atlantic Richfield, and they had this special program. It was called MP&G Tune-Up.
Okay.
They're still in California, still have it in California.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard of it.
So on a Saturday night, we had a sales meeting that you would not ever believe. I mean, this was like top shelf. I mean, ice sculptures, any kind of food you wanted, any kind of drink, open bar, anything. And we had a sales meeting, and they told us how great we were doing, how our franchises were going to be worth twice as much as a McDonald's. And I mean, our district manager, a vice president of marketing for the New England district, they're all up there. And it's coming from their hearts. They're seeing it.
Yeah.
What they didn't know is what we didn't know. On Sunday morning, I'm driving into work, and my pager starts going off. We didn't have cell phones back then.
Right, right.
Okay. So my pager starts going off. And then next thing you know, on the radio, they say, Arco just sold their Northeast gas stations, all the gas stations in the Deepwater port in Boston to Shell Oil.
Oh, whoa.
Just like that.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything was gone. Everything was gone. So anything can happen at any time. FP&L is a worldwide company.
Yes.
That's just one name in a big conglomerate.
Right.
Somebody somewhere can decide, you know what, we're going to close this plant and go do nuclear 10 miles down the road. Right? That
They
decision. And then what do you do?
That's right.
What do you do?
You have an 85% tax deficit to make up. It's almost
How do you operate a government? It's done.
Yep.
It's over.
Yep.
How do you pay your staff? How do you pay your fuel bill? How do you pay? How do you do it?
Everything. Your parks,
Everything.
your recs, everything that's helping the community.
So I learned back then that everything has an expiration date. Okay. And we got to keep looking for new ways, and keep moving forward and do it in a smart way
Right.
to keep the citizens with low taxes and a high quality of life.
That's right.
That is my mission. That's
It's a
my
good
mission.
mission. It's a good mission.
That's my mission. That is my mission.
And I came from a small farming community, farm girl in me. The old saying is, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
So
That's exactly what I'm saying. So whoever thought? And I mean, there were guys that were ready to jump off of buildings in downtown Boston when that
right,
happened, because
right.
they went from making,
Oh,
$350,000 a year to not having a job.
nothing.
You know,
Yep. And it happens, like you said.
it happens. So, and we got to think about all that. You got to think about it.
Yeah.
And the day is always sunny. Just remember, when the sunshine's gone, you got that shadow right there
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
So you got to plan for those days. You got to plan for it. And the best way to plan for it is to know that this could happen. So,
And it could.
like in the sheriff's office, they train for 1,001 scenarios. We
Right.
did. We trained for 1,001 scenarios. Guess what? You're going to come up with the scenario that you didn't train for.
The number two, the 1,002. Yes, that's right. And
Yeah.
you know what? Indiantown's in good hands. And this has been a wonderful conversation. Just to hear your thoughts and where you're coming from. And in my opinion, you are absolutely spot on. You have to prepare for the unknown. You have to diversify. You're trying, I love your mission, high quality of life, lowest tax rate possible. And it can be done. Absolutely. So.
Our council changed when I and Angelina got elected.
Yes.
And Susan got reelected.
Yes.
That changed the dynamic of the council, and we were able to do things that, had we not had that 3 votes, would not have happened.
That's right.
Now the council has changed again.
Right.
We got 3 new members of the council. Luckily for the people of Indiantown, for our government, I think having our meetings that we've had a workshop meeting, which is great because we get to talk to each other.
Right.
And I think all of us are on the same page.
And I heard Councilwoman Brown mention she'd like to do that again in August. Hopefully another session like that. It's a great.
That's the thing. I, myself, and Angelina, and who else? No, Karen Onslaught have to run. We're gonna run next year.
Right.
So I'm gonna go for another 4 years. My kids are telling me, Dad, what are you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
but it's like, I'm very passionate about what we're doing out here.
Passion and continuity. I think that now that we're getting Indiantown on a good positive track, there was a lot of turmoil before. That's gone now. So it's important to have some continuity in these next few years so you can continue on a successful path. So I'm glad to hear you're running again.
I always said, and I used to say it all the time, I want to set this village up for success.
Right.
We're heading that way.
Right.
When we got some other things that I would like to keep working on, to keep doing, to get it to that point where, hey, I mean, yes, there's going to come a day when I'm not going to be here. There's going to come a day when Karen's not here. But if we can leave this village on the right path with the things that really need to be done, then the next people that come in behind us will have an easier job.
That's right. Mission successful.
Because I personally don't think that if we had not hired Karen, we would be in the place that we are today.
Agree.
Because of the experience and the relationships that she brings to the table. And I knew that.
Yes.
Before I got elected.
Yes.
Okay. And what I've found in this job, and especially since I've always done the thing that I'm engaged in this village every day with something. but that's the way it's been for me from day one.
Hmm.
Now I'm the mayor. Okay. So it, I don't know if it adds something to it, but I would be doing the same thing if I were not the mayor. The only thing I wouldn't be doing is running a meeting at town hall
Right.
twice a month. But all the other things I'm doing, I was doing before I was mayor. So to me, it's important to have communication between the council, the mayor, village manager.
Hmm.
And Taryn and I talk every day, you know. Um, she is the rock. I see her interactions with staff. You know, I've had the last 2 years, I've had Employees Appreciation Day
Hmm.
right here at the marina. You know,
Hmm.
have it catered and
Right. Yes.
put up a tent. It's usually before Thanksgiving because Scott does a big thing for Thanksgiving out here.
Okay.
You know, so and to see the interaction between different, you know, from the water company to the office staff through, you know, our leaders, Debbie and Mike from finance, and just to see the interaction, it's like a family.
Right.
Everybody actually cares about each other, you know.
Right.
And I think that's important because we're all striving to do the same thing to get this village on the winning, setting up for success. And that's what they're doing every day in that office. We've got new program, the Tyler program. Everything has glitches in it, unfortunately. So it takes a little time to work those glitches out. But these people, I want everybody to know they are working hard. I'm not a guy that goes to Village Hall twice a month. I'm a guy that's in there every day.
Right. Right.
Okay. And I told Taryn, whenever you feel like you want to throw me out of here, just tell me, I'll go. You know, but she hasn't done that yet. She just laughed.
Uh,
But but I watch how hard these people work, you know, and you know, the pay's not enough.
no, you're
It's
not doing
more
it for the pay.
when you're doing those jobs, the pay's important, but to me, the money that they pay me, my yearly salary of $10,000, I've spent twice as much as that
Right.
meeting with people, and you know, they want to buy me lunch. Well, I'm not the guy that you're going to buy lunch for when we're having a meeting about, you know,
Right.
what you want to bring or what I want you to bring to Indiantown. So I'll pull out my wallet and I'll pay the check, not only mine, but theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do, right?
Right. Right.
So, you know, it's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's about building relationships. When you build relationships with people, and that's the thing about running again. Okay, it's hard to replace people. It's going to be hard to replace Taryn
Oh,
because
I
of the
know.
relationships that she has with people that we in the village need to have.
Yes.
You know, I'm building relationships right now with people that hopefully I'll be around for another 5 years.
Right.
You know, and I can carry those relationships on. When people listen, I used to say like this, you know, you're in a helicopter, I'm the pilot. You better trust me, right?
Right.
I got
Right.
your life in my hands,
That's right.
right? Okay.
Right.
Well, you build relationships like that. Okay. And this is not as extreme in government, but it takes a relationship. It takes the relationship in Tallahassee. It takes a relationship with the boards that we're on,
It does.
you know, takes relationships. I talk to other mayors all the time. I belong to that, you know, mayors association, you
Hmm.
know, or mayors association, and you get to speak to other people, and you get ideas from that. And they, you know, you might have the same problem the other guy might have.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, how did you handle this? Well, how did you handle that? Well, yeah, did that work for you? Well, how did this work for you? You know, it's, but somebody's not going to tell you if they don't have a relationship with you,
No, they don't. They don't open up, and that's right.
right?
And Taryn, she comes with 30 years plus. I don't know how it's possible, right, Taryn? Time flies, but she does have all those deep relationships, and coming from Martin County to Indiantown, I mean, just what a huge asset. Honestly, it's just been night and day in Indiantown. It really has since she came on board.
And I knew bringing her in here when we hired her, it's a no-brainer. She's got the relationships that we need,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So we're just going to keep building relationships and building bridges and getting this village further down the set up for success path.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
where it's, yeah, I mean, that's my mission. And, you know, my kids tell, like I said, my kids tell me, Dad, what are you doing? You know, you're going to enjoy your life and use that bus to go travel. And, you know, like I'm having fun. I'm having
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
I'm enjoying what I'm doing, you know, we're
That's
building
one
something,
thing.
making history every day.
When I go out to Indiantown, that's one thing I can tell is whoever you speak to, they care about Indiantown. They want to make sure whatever is coming to Indiantown, whatever businesses you're talking to are going to fit with Indiantown. And I just love that people, everybody that's there, their heart's in it. It isn't just a job. You can tell that. You can tell that.
And you know what's nice? I can tell you that everybody, and when I'm talking everybody, I'm talking Tallahassee and all the way up to the governor's office. You know, I know they're watching us.
Right.
And I know they want us to succeed.
Right.
And, you know, that's what
Plan
here to
on it.
do, make sure that we succeed. You know?
Mayor, absolutely. And we're all pulling for you. And I just see it's on the right track now. You know,
Yeah, I think we're on the right track.
it feels like it. It really does. It's been a bumpy road early on, but it's a new municipality. Everybody's finding their way and who runs for office. And, you know, it's just, it is finding the right way and just getting that right mix of people. And you can just see there's a good synergy that's happening in Indiantown. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see where it goes, and we will catch up again. You know, coming down the few years and see where we're at because
Anytime you want, I will give you a tour. Not a problem.
Fantastic. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the tour you did give. A couple shout outs. You mentioned a couple of your businesses there. They support my show, and that's Indiantown Marine Center and Indiantown Marina. Appreciate both of those businesses. And with the hurricane season now underway, I think it's June 1st to November 30th. Make sure that you have a safe place to store your one of your biggest investments, and that is your boats. They are safe hurricane harborage. They're inland. They're, in my opinion, probably the safest place in Martin County. So look them up, Indiantown Marine Center, Indiantown Marina, great place to be. And plus they do all the kind of work, the mechanic work, bottom painting, all that kind of stuff. And between the two marinas, they handle every size of boat there is. So
yeah, and I can tell you they both have a great business and they both give back to their community.
Yes.
They do big time, both of them.
They do.
You know, Scott supports a lot of different things out here. So you're not doing business with some kind of you're doing business with quality people.
That's right.
And we do have we are inland.
Yes. No, it is. It's a great place to store your boat when there's hurricanes coming.
Absolutely.
It's one of the safest spots. So
come to Indiantown.
That's right.
We'll take care of your boat.
There we go. All right. Mayor DiPaolo, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure today speaking with you, and a lot of great insight happening. We covered a lot of ground, and my pleasure, absolutely. So
thank you.